I saw a blemish-free credit report. Actually, the highest possible credit score is an 850, and to this day, I have not seen an 850 credit score. An 850 credit score is absolute perfection. That means you've never had a blemish, you've never had anything over the limit you should be, you've never had anything to remotely impact that score negatively. The highest credit score I've ever seen was an 837. And that person, when I talked to them, they were that score. So your credit score and your credit report says a lot about you. Just get in front of it, admit it, say what happened, be responsible, and it doesn't have to be a no-go on the job. We have some more questions and comments. Please, if you'd like to, you can say your name. Please just ask. We are live on the radio.
Hello, my name is Marcel, and I have a comment on managing a credit card. So, as long as you pay your credit card before the due date, you don't have to worry about the interest. It's either 0% or 1,000. Yeah, that's it.
Obviously, Marcel knows money, though. Well, there you go. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is David Labby, and I've heard people talk about consumer disclosure. And I just want to ask, what relation does it have to do with credit score or credit report?
Consumer disclosure?
Yeah.
Where did you see that statement, or what kind of information was it on?
Okay, it was a guy talking about credit cards and stuff like that, and he was saying something about someone who had a report on a history of a lot of stuff he bought, and then he couldn't pay all of it, but he used the word credit disclosure. But when I came here, you're saying about credit reports, it sounds kind of the same to me. So I'm just asking if it has a relation to do with that.
Okay. Well, one thing I can tell you about consumer disclosure or something being disclosed, it means that, most entities, banking institutions, etc., have to fully disclose to you. If you guys have ever noticed, you'll get something in the mail called a privacy policy. Anytime a bank or institution changes their policies about anything, they have to disclose it to you. They have to tell you. A lot of you guys in here may have been mystified when you got a pre-approval offer or somebody else. It's because they've already disclosed it to you. Remember earlier in the broadcast we talked about going to that privacy section on the internet? Well, if you go into that section, they still disclose it. You just have to click that little button. But a lot of us, we don't like to read it. We don't like to read the small print. We don't like to read the stuff that's not like right there in front of us. And unfortunately, we miss it. But there's probably not very many companies or banks out there that have not disclosed to you what they're going to disclose about you. So we live in a double-edged sword kind of thing, because technology the information just goes really, really fast, and it goes really far. And we just have to, be in front of it and be on top of it and be aware of it. But if you ever feel like any of your rights have been violated, or if there's something that's happened that has not been disclosed to you, you always have rights. You can reach out to the Federal Trade Commission or the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. There are regulators in place to help you deal with these things. And as I mentioned before, being your financial coach here, my job is to make sure you understand your rights. The Fair Credit Reporting Act is a law that has to be upheld by the credit reporting agencies, and they are regulated. And that's why it's so important to just kind of, be on top of that stuff. But there's absolutely nothing that you have to worry about in terms of something being disclosed or not being disclosed, because there are regulators out there that are there set up to protect you.
Another question someone had is there a statute of limitation on how long something can stay on your credit if it's a collection?
So there's always a statute of limitations on something, for the most part, but there are some things that are not. Like everything does. Typically it's like 7 to 10 years, depending on what it is. All of that detailed information is set up by state. So, something may, if you're in Detroit or you'll say Michigan or something like that, the statute of limitations for each state are different. You can actually look that up on the internet and look up the statute of limitations for certain things you're looking for. But in terms of collections, typically is 7 years. Most things ride out 7 years on your credit report. So if you have a collection and you're wondering, well, when is this thing going to fall off or that kind of stuff, what I always tell people is you're in charge of your own credit. Don't ever rely on something falling off. You need to make sure that you know the law, and then you write the letter to say, hey, it's been 7 years, time for this to go now. So yes, there is a time frame, but I will tell you there is no statute of limitations on parking tickets, for example. You could have a parking ticket for 100 years and you will still have to pay it. Okay? True story. My husband went in we moved to Chicago, and we didn't know anything about all the parking rules and all that kind of stuff. He parked somewhere, got a ticket, and he's like, oh, let me go, knock this out real quick. And went to the place where you go pay parking tickets. He expected to pay $150, and he had to pay $650 because there was a ticket from 1997 that he had to pay. And that's when we learned that there is no statute of limitations on parking tickets, at least in the state of Illinois. So I tell you, if you owe parking tickets, get them paid.
What about some credit myths, like fact or fiction? Let's see how much people really know. Is this fact or is it fiction? If you pay all your monthly bills on time, you will have a high credit score. Who thinks that's true? Who thinks it's false? It's false. It's false because even if you're paying your utility bills, rent, and telephone bills on time, this positive payment history will have no effect on your FICO score. Remember FICO, we talked about that earlier, unless it's being reported to the major credit bureaus.
Excellent. Thank you. I have another one. So let's see. If you only have collection accounts on your credit report, you may not have a score. Is that true or false? True, raise your hand. False. Okay. It's actually true. If your credit report only has collection accounts and no recent activity, it is possible to not have a FICO score. Recent activity on credit accounts generate a FICO credit score. We're going to take it back to the floor. We got some questions and comments.
Oh, okay. So I'm back. I just had a quick story because I thought it was funny when I told Catherine earlier and she wanted me to share it. But when I got my first credit card, I actually didn't want to use it. I was surprised because I got out of the military. I paid off my car. I didn't even think that affected my credit. I thought they were giving me the card because I had saved money, which I also learned that your savings account, I guess, doesn't really matter when it comes to credit. That was a lesson. But I had it, and I was like, I'm not using this thing. And I didn't. For the first year I had the card, I didn't use it for me. What ended up happening is family members who find out that you have this credit card, family members who don't have good banking history, who don't have access to credit themselves. Hey, I need help with this phone bill. Hey, I need help with this light bill or this cable bill. And you find yourself going, well, it's family. And, and next thing you know, you're the family bank. So so that's the thing when she talked about, like, you're responsible for your credit. Yes, you may want to help. And you might find yourself in this position. You want to help them, but at the same time, you're going to be the one paying at the end. It's kind of like the whole put the air mask on yourself before you help the person next to you in a plane ride thing. So that's just something to think about if you have a credit card and all of a sudden hands just start appearing from corners of the house.
That's right. So how long have you been the family bank? No, I'm just kidding. How many of you guys know? How many of you guys are the family bank? Okay, good. Yeah, you don't want to be the family bank. So the family bank, I am going to copyright this. The family bank is the person that if somebody calls you and they want you to co-sign or they need you to buy something for them or whatever, and you say, okay, sure, no problem. You have just become the family bank. In my family, I am definitely not the family bank. Actually, nobody tells me when they are in trouble because they're like, uh-oh, that's our family coach. No, we are not saying anything to her. We are going to pay our bills. Yes, we are. As a matter of fact, we're going to pay them right now. We are not talking to Catherine. Anyway, so, yeah, being the family bank has its downfall. We have some more things we want to talk about. We have some more sharing we want to have happen. And I also want to talk about payday loans. Yeah, let's talk about payday loans. We have another comment or question or story?
Good afternoon. My name's T. Allen. I'm not only a student, but I'm a director of a business, a multi-corporation. I think it's very important that these events are held. And the reason I say that is when people get information, that's great. But you have to apply that. And my story is when I was young, at 12 years old, my dad sat me down, told me the budget, told me how to do situations. And that hands-on has created what is a very conservative, but I do not spend anything that I do not have money to pay in advance. And that's something that's really a lot of hard times. People in business today push, buy this, pay later, buy this. And everybody gets so conscious of having something that everybody else has but can't afford it. And that's a lesson that I have learned, and I'm not going to say my credit score, but it actually is better than the vice president's, which I was surprised. But one thing is important is that you continue to use and access the system that we do have at Truman College, because it will be very beneficial for you as you grow and as you want to get a business or whatever you want to do. It's a wonderful thing. So don't take credit lightly. Continue to monitor it and always make sure that you pay your bills on time. Thank you.
Thank you. This is live at Truman College. Let's talk about credit. It's Money Smart Week, and we're discussing financial literacy, specifically credit. This is 90.5 FM HD. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Since America began, we have publicly honored God. Our Declaration of Independence says we're endowed with rights by our Creator. But activist judges are erasing God from our public square. And it's time the American people said, stop.
Today on Michigan's Economic Hospital, Dr. Granholm performs Democrat tax surgery and kills the patient.
For nearly 20 years, his hard work has earned him the respect and support of Democrats, Republicans, independents, and law enforcement.
Vote yes on Referred Law 6. You're voting for life. That's just common sense, South Dakota.
Tom Hamilton wants to turn back the clock to a time when teachers could strike without penalty.
They've had an iron grip on Washington, D.C. for decades, and federal law has kept workers powerless to get the union boss's hands out of their pockets. Until now.
Paid for by the Michigan Republican Party.
Welcome back to Truman College. Let's talk about credit. This is Smooth 90.5 FM HD. Of course, we are streaming on multiple platforms, whether you're listening to your HD radio. You can also listen via Live 365, iHeartRadio.com, as well as Sirius Radio Station Channel 432. Of course, you can go to our website as well, which is www.wgsgbcradio.com. So there's multiple ways you can be listening. And we're going to go back out and have some more questions as we're winding down our session here for Money Smart Week. And Marcel from the Investors Club, the guy with all the knowledge, he's got something to say. Go ahead.
I have a question now. If I become a money bank, family bank, for a friend and cosign for one of his loans, and he will not pay the loan, he will not pay in time, do my credit score will go down or not?
Have you co-signed on this loan?
No. Oh, if I'm saying
if you're the family bank and you got it for them?
Yeah, if I will co-sign for the loan.
Yes, absolutely. Your credit score will be impacted by his payment history because your name is also on that account. That's a big myth, too, around co-signing is that, salespeople will tell you, oh, you co-sign, you're kind of like second, so you're not really, that is so not true. You are absolutely responsible for that. Co-signing is very serious. It is like your debt. I tell you, if you co-sign for somebody, you better be at their house every time that bill is due and make sure they pay it, because it will absolutely impact your credit score.
Okay, thank you.
If they don't pay. Thank you, Marcel.
I am Adeosun of the Cairo, and my question will be first, because I'm first generation immigrant from Africa, and I'm actually Nigerian by birth. So as Nigerian, I don't believe in credit. I actually believe in paying whenever you have. But coming into this country and seeing how the country is run, it gave me a little bit, hassle, because I had to first of all understand credit, then, come into the system. So my question will be, how can maybe the system give information to immigrants and letting them understand and know that, okay, how is it possible for this immigrant to be able to have an awareness of the system about credit and building credit? Because back home in Africa, if I needed the car, no matter how much it is, I have to maybe save up to it before I could finally get it.
Mm-hmm. I really appreciate your question. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of, things in place right now to have those kind of courses that are specifically dedicated to make sure that those that are not from this country originally are made aware of credit. I've actually spoken with a number of students recently, much like yourself, who said that they found out about credit the hard way. The good thing is that because the City Colleges of Chicago does see this as something that's important, I'm here and I will be more than happy. That's why we're doing this radio show. That's why we're doing it about credit. is because I realized that more students didn't know about credit and were kind of backdooring into debt and into making unfortunate credit decisions because of that. So we're actually going to have regular conversations like this, not necessarily